So the San Antonio Spurs got the first overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, which means they're getting Victor Wembanyama. There's no other pick here. It's going to be him. It would take something catastrophic happening for him not to be the pick. And even then, he would still probably be the pick. One of the best prospects we have ever seen is going to San Antonio, and he joins a lineage of big men, and he hopes to be the next in line. After David Robinson, number 1 overall pick, 1987, Tim Duncan, first overall pick, 1998, and now 2023, they get Victor Wembanyama. Is he going to be Tim Duncan? Is he going to be David Robinson? That's a high expectation, but I have high hopes for Victor. There's nothing like him in the NBA, and I'm going to talk about him as a prospect, as well as his fit with the Spurs in this video. So what is Victor Wembanyama as a player? Well, Victor Wembanyama is a player that is in a class full of prospects that you probably get closer comps to anime characters than actual basketball players, and he's at the top of that. There is nothing like this. It's unfair, because if he was 6'8", he would still be the number 1 pick. That's how good he is. Now he's 7'5" and overpowered. Nobody that tall should have any business being that fluid of an athlete, having that good of a handle, being able to create off the dribble like that, having the feel for the game that they do. He does need to work as a shooter a bit, but I think that will improve over time. He has a good form. He's a really fluid athlete in terms of his ability to get shots off the dribble. He's somebody that I think it's more about shot selection than ability. So I wouldn't worry about the numbers too much. I think it might take time for the numbers to get up to snuff, but in due time, I think he can be an efficient shooter. He's somebody that has passing flashes as well. Needs work there, but the flashes are very encouraging. Really good shooting touch. Somebody that needs to add strength to his frame, but I think he will. He already seems like he has from the beginning of the year to now. And once he does that, he's going to be unstoppable as a lob threat and a rim runner. He can play on and off the ball. He's just very versatile as an offensive player. The sky is the limit. That's the best way to put it. This is somebody that has a chance to be able to create on 3 levels of the basketball court at 7'5" and be elite at all 3 of those levels. That's not something that's going to be easy to stop at all. And I do think his ceiling as an offensive player is the best offensive player in the league. I just think he can be that good. Does he reach that ceiling? We'll see. But that's how good I think his offense has a chance to be. But for as good as his offense is, his defense is even better because he is already really good. He times his blocks well. He can play multiple defensive coverages, hold his own on switches, incredible ground coverage, plays passing lanes, just does it all. High motor, high feel. Legitimately has a chance to be the best defensive player in the world. So, looking at a player who has a chance to be the best offensive and defensive player in the world, so in turn, his ceiling is the best player in the world. I don't think that's unfair to say, just based off what we've seen. The fact that he's this good already, and still has a ton of room to grow, and we're just scratching the surface of his potential, that is a sign to me that it is okay to be okay, he could be the best player in the world. It's not a guarantee that he does become it, but all the signs are there that this is a possibility, that we are watching the future best player in the world and a future, potential top 10 to 15 player ever. He's somebody that can be that good. Not a guarantee, but I do think there aren't many worlds where he isn't at the very least a good player. I would say he has one of the higher ceilings we've seen in recent memory. The only one I think among prospects I've evaluated that had a higher ceiling, not higher ceiling, higher floor than Victor is Luka Doncic. But Luka Doncic had all NBA traits at 16 years old, and he's an outlier case. But I think Victor can be as good as he wants to be. And I think he has the mindset to want to be great, based off his interviews, based off the way he carries himself on the court, based off the way he plays. So I think he has a chance to be special. But he does need to improve his weight and playing strength. He does need to improve his shot selection and shot consistency. and work a bit on the passing, as well as a bit of the P&O technique on defense, but those are things that are very fixable, and he's shown improvement throughout the year that he can improve in those areas, so he's just a great prospect. You worry a bit about the injuries because like he is super tall, and tall guys don't really have a great injury history or track record of health, so that's something, but I'm not going to wish injury upon anyone. That's not something I'm trying to project. This is just a great basketball player. Nothing comes close to this as a prospect as far as guys I've evaluated outside of Luka Doncic. And Luka Doncic is only a player that's similar and maybe slightly better as a prospect in my opinion, just because Luka's feel was legit. Again, like MVP, All-NBA good at 16 years old. Like that just doesn't happen. But again, if the only player that's really on your level is Luka and maybe Zion as a prospect, you're doing something special. Victor is one of the 3 best prospects I've ever evaluated, and he's closer to 1 than he is 3. I'll leave it at that. So, I think he's a special prospect. Let's talk about the team fit now. So, I actually think the Spurs have one of the most underrated young rosters in the league. I am very intrigued by their young core, and this is before they got the first overall pick. I like their young guards. Trey Jones is really good. He's kind of like his brother on offense, not completely, but, smart, under control, high feel, makes good plays, but also a really good and instinctual defender. Blake Wesley is an intriguing guard that is kind of lanky, but relatively tall, can make shots, has some all-around potential. Devin Vassell, in my opinion, is one of the best two-way young wings in the league. I really like his potential. I think he'd be like a Chris Middleton kind of player down the line. Keldon Johnson's been one of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion. 20-plus point per game scorer. Inconsistent shooter, but a confident shooter. Good rebounder, like a power, like wing forward type. They have Devontae Graham. I don't know how much longer he's going to be on the team. Jeremy Sohan was one of the best rookies in basketball this year. Love his versatility. Very unorthodox but effective style of play. Versatile on both ends of the floor. Can pass. Somewhat scores, so a lot more scoring potential than he did in college. While also being an all-around guy. Malachi Branham, I really like him as well. I think he's one of the more underrated young guard wing types in the league. So they have a bunch of guys that I like already. And then you just put Victor in. And he's going to be able to work in PNRs with Trey Jones. He's going to be able to find open shooters Devin Vassell. He can work well with Keldon Johnson, in my opinion. It won't be a perfect fit right away, but they have good young pieces here that I'm intrigued by. All of their real quote unquote core pieces, in my opinion, are young. Keldon Johnson's only 23. 24 years old. Devin Vassell is 22, 23. Trey Jones is 23. Jeremy Sohan is going to be 20. Malachi Branham is going to be 20. Blake Wesley, I like him a lot. He didn't play as much, but he's going to be 20. I like him long term, obviously. So I just really like his fit with this team. I think it's a better fit than people are probably going to give it credit for. It isn't as interesting as a fit as Charlotte with him and LaMelo, or Detroit with the dynamics between himself, Cade, Ivy, and Duran, per se. But I do like the young core that the Spurs are building. They don't have many high draft picks outside of, I guess, Jeremy Sohan, but even then he went 9th. So this is their first real franchise piece. And what a franchise piece to get. But let me know what you think about the Spurs getting the first overall pick. Where do you think the other prospects are going to go? I know Victor's the big name in this draft, but there are other really good prospects. So where do you want to see those guys end up? We'll do all of that in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. That being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.